Alright, this one's on the melodic bend slash repeat. Right now I have a combi open. It's number IB 103. I labeled it Christian because I wasn't sure if I wanted to produce some Christian artists with this combi. But yeah, I am not using the usual setup. I actually am syncing the Kronos with Karma and for the MIDI clock, and then I don't have Cubase running. And also I set it up to where Karma is just controlling the Kronos directly. It's controlling the Karma inside of the Kronos. So I have Karma on, and I'm only running module 1. You can see I have it soloed here. And it has a melodic repeat slash bend GE RTC model type. If I just cruise down to module 1, see melodic repeat slash bend. So yeah, I'm soloing it, Karma is running, and I can just play with my right hand. And let's mess the parameters. Let's see what this thing does. So it's going to deal mainly with this repeat category, and then also the bend group. So we have bend length for our first slider. That's obviously going to have to do with how long the bend is. I don't think it has to do with necessarily the intensity of the bend, but really just with how long it is. So let's hold a note. And let's mess with that slider. So I didn't hear any difference there. You can actually see the length of the note change. So I hear zero difference, but bend is on. Bend amount, let's try to mess with that. Still not hearing any difference. Bend start. So we're starting technically at the beginning of the note. We have start percentage and then end percentage. And that's really interesting how the slider will actually change halfway through. I wonder how that works. And width percentage will go down. Weird. I want to actually look at how this is macroed up. So this is bend, start, and width. That's slider 2, RT parameters, module layer. We have our first module selected, and so slider 2, where are you? Slider 2, slider 2, slider 2. So yeah, they're all just assigned to the same slider with 0 to 50, 50 to 100, and then 0 to 100 for bend width. So that's really interesting how you can just macro everything up on one slider. You can see the actual parameters change as I slide the slider. Even so, still not hearing any kind of difference. Let's see. So bend direction does change something. We see direction real time, direction from, and then direction to. Actually not 100% sure what that does. It's something that we'll explore when we're actually going through the individual GE parameters. Bend shape, bend trigger by velocity, no. Bend on release, sure. No, actually that won't make a difference. Bend trigger by volume, no. Whoa. So that must change the cluster group because that's how you make chords. So but it doesn't appear to be changing that. So let's find out what switch 7 does. Very mysterious GE. Let's see. Switch 7, repeat velocity range bottom. So repeat, and then trigger by velocity, velocity range bottom to top. And then the repeats must be like pretty much instantaneous. Let's see. Repeat by velocity. So technically, if I get above velocity 110, let me hit this really hard. Ooh. Wow. That's super weird. And then I guess our bend length comes into play there. Let me take that down. So that's why I was never hearing a bend, because I was never hitting the note hard enough to create a bend, because the bend will only happen when I was above 110 velocity, which I never got above. But now, with this setting changed, we should definitely hear a bend length difference. Alright, still not hearing a difference. I don't know why. So it still seems to be, I still seem to have to hit the note super hard. All this seemed to change was the chords, which is super weird. Why aren't I hearing it bend? Oh, you know what? I wasn't in the bend category. So this will change the repeat ability. So I actually don't care about repeats. I'll leave that high. But I do want to change the bend trigger by velocity. That's what I want. Okay, so I take that off. That puts the bend trigger at a low velocity, so I can just change it whenever. It's kind of weird how it like starts the note and then bends down. Let's see if the bend start width end changes that. Weird. Ooh, wacky. And I want to see what happens if I take off through. Yeah, that might actually be better, because we're kind of hearing like the note click in the beginning. Actually, I don't hear any difference. Just leave it off then. So let's see. We already went through bend on and off. Obviously that just turns off bend entirely. Just turns off the whole group. Bend mount. Plus 12 or minus 12. Totally sounds like a Mario sound. Let's go up here. So you can totally hear how the beginning of the note is the same regardless. So if I only hold it down briefly. Sorry, let me. Oh, that was the bend. Sorry, that was the bend direction. I want the bend amount. So it's ending in the same spot here. It's starting low, going up, and then resting at the same note. We can probably hear that if I can trigger the same note, but what if I hear how those are an octave apart? Bend direction to from. Just switches the bend direction. So if we actually put that on, now we're starting on the same note and then changing and then going plus or minus an octave from there. Minus an octave, plus an octave. Let's see, what else? I want to see exactly what bend length. Oh yeah, that's changing the note value of the bend length. It's a quarter note, eighth note. I like the quarter note. It's too bad. Like something like this is very undescriptive in the RTC controls. Like switching the slider between 0 and 127 gives us no like visual idea of what note value it is. So that's why the software really helps out with this kind of stuff. If we look at the RT parameters, let's check out that slider 1. So slider 1 is bend length 0 to 25. Yeah, so that still really doesn't tell us like what note value we would be choosing with this slider. If you looked in the manual, it does go over each group. And so I guess you could look at the manual and like find this parameter. You really, I guess you'd look at like bend length, and then you'd go to the bend GE group in the manual, and then you'd look at length, and then it might give you like what these values mean. Yep, let's see, bend control mode. Here, let's check that out. It's super weird. It's flipping a switch, but it's actually going from 2 to 250 and then from 1 to 0. I wonder what that's changing. So it doesn't seem to be changing. Let's see, slider 3. Slider 3, repeat duration value. So let's go to our repeat category. And that's going to change our duration value wherever it is. There it is. That's with this. So duration in milliseconds, or it's just as played. That doesn't really do much for us unless we put repeat trigger by velocity. Put that down so it'll re-trigger basically every time now, instead of repeating with a strong velocity. So it's doing it at note off here. So that's because I have this repeat on release. Let's take that off, and that'll just play a chord. Now let's see what this duration control does. That controls basically the length, the amount of time the chord is held before it starts, before the pitch bend starts. But if I go past 64, it just goes to as played, which I like. It's very much like a slide guitar. That's really neat. Repeat rhythm value. Ooh, this kind of like arpeggiates the notes. All the way down to like quarter notes. You can even do that on release. Let's check that out. So now they put, I was going to say they hold for the amount of time that I originally held the note. So this will be extended out. Let me see if I can really get it in the beginning. Yep. So those are all the length that I held to the original note, as designated by as played. Of course, if I took down the duration control, it would make those go down. So no matter how long I sustain my note, it does it by the amount that's designated in milliseconds here. But I like as played. Repeat rhythm value, already went over that. Bend shape, we kind of already went over that. Let me see. Ooh. Actually, I don't think we went over this. We went over direction and amount. Let's see what shape does. It's probably in the bend category of bend shape. So it goes from shape hammer to shape bend, and it also changes the width. I guess the width actually doesn't matter if we're on bend. Turns it to hammer. Bend trigger by velocity, we already know. That means that we would have to hit the key super hard in order to get to trigger. Repeat repetitions. Ooh, let's turn that up 20. So just technically keep going for 20 notes. I wonder why. Oh, there it goes. You know what? So that was 20 notes. Wow. The reason why it wasn't playing down here probably has something to do with the zone. So you can see that below whatever the heck this key is, can actually, let's see, that's E. So F4. If this is below F4 should be all the way up here. So C4. Let's not have it repeat 20 times. Let's have it repeat much less. That's volume, repeat repetitions, 4. Okay, I want to see that closer to... So this one played, and then I think these two didn't. So it does play this one, but these, you can see these are out of zone, but technically this is out of zone too. I don't know why we can hear that. Or is that the last one before it's out of zone? No. Besides, it is playing this one too, which is totally out of zone. So I'm not 100% sure why these two aren't playing. Let me check the series. I guess the series doesn't matter when it comes to real time. So we're not functioning off of the series. Interesting. So that's kind of confusing because then I don't know exactly how the repeat is choosing. Well, I guess it's choosing its notes by the transpose parameter, which I guess it does anyway. So it never uses the series, those strange lapse in memory. Okay. Wow. No. Siri, it's so weird. I'm gonna unplug her so she doesn't start talking to me randomly. Okay. Repeat initial volume will just be the initial velocity. See that there? So that's like how loud the first note is before it starts repeating at lower velocities. Repeat decay is just changing the how much it goes down with each repeat. Repeat transpose. Ooh, yeah, let's put that up. Now let's put the decay super low. So it's so low in that last one that it just actually dips out. It doesn't even play. Really neat. And you can see the color difference and even the velocity difference there. Yeah, that pretty much covers all of this. This was a really fun one. I like this. Yeah, these categories, the repeat and bend categories, are super fun, and this RTC model is really just meant to mess with those categories specifically. So yeah, thanks for watching this one, and I'm gonna make another one like right now. All right, bye.